All right. We're on our new lesson on Martin Luther. Last lesson, we talked about the Reformation, Protestant Reformation, how Martin Luther kind of started that. And in this lesson, we are going to talk a little bit about Martin Luther. First of all, your objective is you will analyze two primary source documents written by Martin Luther in 1517 and then again another one in 1513. And you'll be able to distinguish the differences in tone between them by citing specific textual evidence. So first, before you get started, there's a timeline to go over. We're going to go over this. But first, in 1517, Johann Tetzel travels to Germany preaching of indulgences. Remember, we talked about what indulgences were. That were things you could pay for to make sure that you or family members would get into heaven. That upset Martin Luther. So on October 31st, 1517, Luther sends his 95 Theses with a letter, that's document A that we're going to see, to the Archbishop of Mainz. In 1518, Pope Leo X asks Luther to take back his 95 Theses. Luther refuses. Then, in June 15th, 1520, the Pope excommunicates Martin Luther from the Catholic Church. 1521, Charles V declares Luther a criminal and tries to have him arrested. Frederick of Saxony, soon thereafter, pledges support to Luther and grants him protection at his castle. From 1521 to 1544, Luther's ideas spread throughout Europe and gain more and more support. Over the next 20 years, it becomes clear that an irreversible break has occurred between the Catholic Church and the Protestant movement. All right, that's your timeline. Let's move on. Um, we're going to watch this video in class, or you can watch this if you're doing this on your own. I'm not going to play it right now. And now let's start analyzing some documents. You are going to do those on your own or in your groups. So here's document A. There will be a button here for you to have it read to you. After you read document A, you're going to answer the questions. What was the source? So what's the sourcing of the document? That means who wrote, or sorry, when was this document written and what was Luther's purpose? We know Martin Luther wrote it, but when was it written? Go back and check it out. How would you describe Luther's tone? That means, is he mad, sad, happy, in between? Like, how do you think he was feeling when he wrote this? And then finally, according to this document, why did Luther challenged the Catholic Church? Here's your next document that you're going to read or listen to and read. And when you're done, you have the same questions to write. When was the document written? What was Luther's purpose in writing it? How would you describe his tone? Again, how do you think he was? What do you think his personality was? What was he thinking? According to this document, why did Luther challenge the Catholic Church? Same questions as the last time. Again, when we analyze documents, sometimes we want to look at the same questions throughout all of the documents. Finally, well, not quite finally, before we get to finally, is there a difference in tone? Did he sound different between 1517 and 1535? So, what was the difference? Write some describing words here or here on your slideshow to tell us the difference. Was he happy? Was he sad? Was he mad? Was he respectful? Was he disrespectful? Was he grumpy? Was he, that would be kind of the tone. Where was he in his life? What was he doing at 1517? That you might want to look back at the timeline to see what he was doing in his life. And then what was happening in 1535? And then what were his disagreements with the church? It could be the same disagreements, or was anything added later on? Almost finally, why did Martin Luther's account of his break from the church change? Why do you think, I guess this is a hint, that his tone changed between 1517 and 1535? And then give some specific example evidence from, sorry, explain your answer with specific evidence from the documents, and go back and highlight that evidence. And then you could just put that in here. You can copy and paste that evidence in here as well. Then finally, when you're done, there's a question to answer on Google Classroom. But that's really it for this. Going over this, we're going to do this in groups today, and then we're going to talk about it as a whole class, and then you're going to answer some of these things on your own, especially that question on Google Classroom. That's it.